And welcome to a sunny Saturday here from Woodbine as we get set for 11 races, including the Grade 3 Ontario Derby, which will go as race number 9 on today's program. Elisa alongside Jeff. And Jeff, this might be our last good day. We just took a look at the weather. The forecast for the entire week is rain.
I know. Even last night I was driving home in some pretty good rain. I'm surprised we're on the turf today. I'm pleasantly surprised because I drove through some pretty good storms last evening. But and the problem is now, as we all know, you get dew sometimes, frost, and so it's tough for the turf course to dry out. I bet if we were on the EP today, we'd probably be off. And we'd still be on the inner because it drains so much better than the EP does. But yeah, so we're going to be on the turf. And the program today talking about a mixed bag. A lot of youngsters racing. You've got, some 3-year-olds. They're going to be some of our best older horses next season. Looking forward to that. We've got layoff runners aplenty today. You like one of them. Souped Up. I like one of them for Donnie McRae coming off the bench too. So no lack of ways to play the race program today.
I like this card today. I think there's some pretty exciting races, and the last race is a crapshoot, basically. So it's going to be some interesting handicapping. Yesterday, we started off with the trend that we had begun on the Thursday program with long shots. First race on the card goes to a price horse. Second race on the card goes to a price horse. And then things got a little bit more formful. We had that carryover for the pick 5. Of course, Jeff and I, 4 out of 5. We are, if anything, we're consistent.
We are consistent. We are. And then the nightcap, a bit of an overlay, I thought, with Cheat the Devil. Again, that horse at 9-1. That's a pretty good number.
Yeah, she made a lot of sense there.
She did. And Mike DiPaolo sent out that one. Yeah, Perfect Girl kicked off the card at odds of 11-1. Perhaps her most impressive winner was Ella Lacran. I mean, that was off the screen.
That was amazing. The other horse that's won 3 in a row and is the now horse right now, of course, is ready to collect for Ted Holder, who's enjoyed a really good week as well. But lots of different jocks in the winner's circle on yesterday's program, and the payouts, like we said, started off with some big prices, and then things got much more formful. Now, I always find too, Thursdays and Fridays are wacky. Saturdays and Sundays, we get horses with good form. It's a little bit easier sometimes to do the handicapping. And then, of course, we get our morning workout reports as well, which helps us out from our clocker, Ernie Perry, to tell us just how the track was playing for morning works. And I'm going to guess inside was the best place to be. But he rated it a 3.5 out of 5. And, the work of the day is this horse by the name of Silent Lee. Now, this horse worked with some nice company with Hemlo Gold and Cruden Bay, more importantly. So it looks like Donnie sent 3 to work together.
That's interesting. You don't see that a lot. You don't see a barn usually working 3 like that, especially like a couple of really nice older horses like Cruden Bay and Hemlo Gold. So Silent Lee ran okay first time out. Kind of a decent 4th, I would say. But Silent Lee is one that we'll keep an eye on for sure. And the track was a little slower, I thought, on Thursday. And Ernie says it was still slow this morning. Now, the one thing that can change is if we get some rain, especially tomorrow. I tend to find the track will quicken up a little bit. I was listening to the forecast. Originally, it was going to be a total washout all day. Now it sounds like maybe halfway through the day it's going to start to rain.
Yes, see, I wasn't sure what to do with our turf races on tomorrow's program. So I kind of handicapped for one and handicapped for the other.
And there's a lot of live MTOs on the program too tomorrow, which makes that a bit of an interesting mess that we have to try and unfold as well. So yes, some interesting decisions are going to have to be made in regards to turf racing tomorrow.
Right. Now today we have a couple of nice baby races on the program. Ernie picks out race number 6 on the card, but the 5th race on the card is a fun baby race as well, maiden special weight going 5/8 on the turf. So enjoy the grass racing here while you can. Looks like we're going to be a washout for the next week or so here in the Toronto area, but what does the weatherman know? It's not always right.
And I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for not bringing up the Bluebirds today.
Jeff, I know it's a sore spot for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And
it was
speaking
tough
of
night.
Sore spot, I felt every inch of that ball getting whacked into Springer's knee. Oh, That was, and I was listening to it in the car, and I was in pain just listening. Imagine what color his knee is today.
Yeah, it's probably the rainbow.
And then how big and blown up it is.
X-rays were negative, thankfully,
That's
but
good.
still,
It'll hurt today, and they'll be working on him today because tomorrow is a really important day. We need him. We need him to play tomorrow. All right, let's get started with the handicapping on today's program. We will begin in race number 2 on today's card, and we are on the turf. in lane 2, and as Robert pointed out, it is listed as good for today, so it has a little bit of give to it. But I was thinking driving in today, how many times have we come off of the grass this season? Not very many.
No, been very fortunate. It was a very dry summer. Very dry summer. And I mean, it stinks for, certain aspects of our lives. Like, I feel bad for the farmers. I was reading some of their crops, really weren't that great this year.
Yeah, if you don't have a good irrigation system, you're in trouble.
Toast, right? So, but for us racing-wise, it's been terrific.
Yeah,
and,
really can't complain about it.
And we're on the grass here for this particular race. And I've got one hot mess who's kind of a bit of a veteran when it comes to racing on this particular course, and obviously looks pretty good. You've got Darum, who last ran against the boys. Shouldn't have run all that bad in the breeders. She only lost by about 8 lengths. That was a pretty good race. She finished in the 5th place spot. I'm going to gravitate towards Salted in here. She was a huge disappointment to me last time out. I'm hoping that maybe the turf wakes her up a little bit in here, but I respect your pick a ton, and I went 5-4-1. You're tossing the 2 as well, Tiz Ready. I could see that. Ran against Celebrity Row, who came back to run very well the other day. Finished second, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, was Salted not a horse who made Ernie's Clock report not too long ago? And I think that was for the work back on September the 20th from the gate in 46-1. Because we get a little confused. We have a Salt here that Kevin Attard trains, and now we have Salted.
We need some pepper.
Yeah, from the Cassie outfit. But this one, holy smokes, what a purchase for this 3-year-old filly by Tap at $760,000. She'll add the blinkers here today as well, but she's been the favorite in her last 2 races and is kind of disappointed.
Pac-Man. She's been a major Pac-Man. Yeah, she's ate a lot of money. Yeah, that's right. I always loved playing that. She had the bow tie on when you played, remember?
Yes, Jeff, that's Jeff's favorite line when we go to harness racing, Pac-Man. Exactly. You find a lot of Pac-Man. And we want the sound effect.
Yeah, so if you're not familiar with that term, it's horses that take a lot lot of money and they never win. Like British Royalty is becoming a bit of a Pac-Man.
Or British Artillery.
Artillery, sorry, yes. British Artillery, yes. So, there are some Pac-Mans.
Race number 3 on the program is where we go next for our next topic, which is this optional 40. And you get a field of 8 in here. There's this Philip Banks, of course, we're all going to be cheering for Phil.
Yep.
Everybody likes Uncle Phil.
Yep.
And he ran second, a very good second to Daddy Has Diamonds. They got to be happy with him. The barn had a nice winner on the program with El Alacron back in race number 2 on the card yesterday. Phil's where I'm headed, but this Cuban Thunder is kind of interesting. He's had a long time off since racing down at Gulfstream Park. Lots of breaks in his form last year, but he's offered up for the $40,000 price tag, so that's interesting. He was sold at digital sale for only $4,500, and he's here for $40,000. Like, what kind of horse do they think they have?
Yeah, it could be a nice investment. The distance is obviously a bit of a question mark too. You look back at him, he never goes this short. So I think this, to me, if I'm reading between the lines, I think this is almost like a, let's see what we've got type of race.
Or a starting point to going back to Gulfstream, maybe?
And maybe, listen, you're not going to get burned buying this horse, right? You're not paying a ton of money by any means in here. I thought Philip Banks ran well last time out. On the synthetic, just got beat by Daddy Has Diamonds, and the final time of the race was pretty good too. But I thought it'd be a bit of a wise guy in here, and I'm going to go towards Highland Blue. Highland Blue, it's kind of rare to see, here we are, midway through October, a horse taking advantage of the waiver claim. But they're doing that here. So obviously I think Donnie likes what he got here for owner Mike Lay. And look what the horse ran second to last time out. It's time to shine. And roar of the crowd. I mean, those are 2 pretty good horses. If he is ready, I think he might be good enough to win this race. But to me, it's 4-5, 5-4 till the cows come home.
But why? Why hasn't this horse raced until now? Like, that's my concern. Like, they claim the horse for 40, and I don't really know if the horse was in the spring and then got shelved, or if the horse didn't come back till, let's say, sometime in June or July. Maybe there was something that had to be taken care of as far as soundness was concerned. But we're back. And that's very interesting. Over the next little while, you're going to see a lot of horses making their first starts of the season.
More bomber.
Yeah, and some of those horses, it's understandable because they have winter campaigns ahead of them, but I don't think this barn goes anywhere.
But doesn't it make you feel a little bit better that, say, he's not in for 25? He's not in for 15.
He's not in for $7,500.
And he's not, yeah, we're going to see one of those coming up on Thursday. The horse, then they could have run for the tag.
Yeah,
even,
that's right. So they're protecting him.
They obviously like what they've got.
Well, maybe they made a significant investment into this horse's soundness, and here they are today in this protected spot. So that's race number 3 on the card. As we go over to our next topic, which comes up in race 5. I like the 5th race on today's program. It's a maiden special weight going a quick 5/8 on the inner turf course. So we don't have to cross our fingers on that first turn with youngsters. Just one turn to get through. Lots of firsters in this race, and there's a couple that are very interesting. Now, we've talked about this before. The absence of Sahin Savachi is an impact in a lot of barns now.
Big time.
And Mark Cassie's barn is one of them.
Yep.
So here's Jose Campos getting another call today for Cassie. Now, we know he rode military time and things. We found out what it was with the horse. Maybe he'll be better next start out. But this Mona Loa, or is that how we're going to say her name?
Sure.
Okay. She's been getting ready down at Ellis Park, at Churchill Downs, at Keeneland. She's been all over the place, and they decide to bring her here today. She's a Nyquist. That's an expensive stallion. The mare's a 3-time stakes winner. A very interesting pedigree on that one. But then Cassie has Likely Story, who's even better, and Likely Story is out of the dam Karen. Karen was a great mare. She was an 8-time stakes winner. She made well over $800,000. This is her 4th foal. She's had 2 winners from 2 to make it to the races. Lots of good signs there with the 8 as well.
Some of the others that you might want to give some consideration to, Party Central, some working up a storm down in Kentucky, was actually a vet scratch down in Kentucky. And now it's been transferred over to the Johnny Charlombus outfit. I don't think Johnny would have had the horse down in Turfway. I think it was probably somebody else that was developing this miss. And then you've got Twist of Sugar, who ran great last time out. And here's Likely Story right now. It's a nice photo with Roberts. I wonder if this horse knows how good her mom was. Her mom was good. She was a multiple stakes winner. She made over $800,000. And I think Likely Story could be very, very good in here. Then you've got Twist of Sugar. Twist of Sugar finished 2nd, but the horse that won that last race was one by the name of Final Accord, who came out of the event to win the Grade 3 Matron from Mark Cassie. So that's obviously a great frame of reference. But I think what's going to be very interesting in here is who's going to handle the course, because this course is going to have some cut to it. And they're going to be flying going into that first turn. So I kind of want an inside draw, if at all possible. Yeah,
there's that. You know what else? We've been really lucky here to have some good freshman sires show up with horses on the grounds. We've had a Beau Liam. We had the very first Beau Liam winner in North America. But last year when I went down to the sale in July, the Yaupons were selling like crazy. We got a Yaupon that will debut here today, exclusive Yaupon. This is a top freshman sire.
Very good first time out.
Yeah, exactly. Dam was a stakes winner again. We're looking at some horses in this race with mums who certainly knew what to do when they were racing.
I'd love to know the story behind the naming of the 9 horse in here.
My husband's a genius.
Yeah.
I had a couple of chuckles when I saw it.
Was that a bet that was lost, maybe, with the wife about naming that horse? This one's actually nicely bred. This one's from the same family as Kalik, and Bringer of Rain is kind of a hard-knocking veteran type of horse.
Yeah,
right? So,
yeah, exactly.
But
Another nice mare.
I did laugh when I saw that name.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good one. All righty, so that is race number 5 on the program, the maiden special weight for the 2-year-olds. And then we'll go over to race number 6, and we'll look at more 2-year-old racing. This time at 6.5 furlongs back on the main track for this maiden special weight. And you want to show us a replay of a horse by the name of Dunmore Beach. But this race is also where we kick off the Jackpot Power Pick 6. Carryover's growing. It's close to $50,000, Jeff.
And Dunmore Beach was so loaded with run that unfortunately caused interference with some other rivals here trying to get out. And we'll show you exactly what we mean in here. This was back on September the 20th, and we're highlighted right now. We are second last in this race, and eventually we'll finish second. And against some horse named Piper's Gift. That's obviously a great frame of reference. So the winner's going to run off the screen, but just watch the 3 in here, and we're just trying to get some room. The horse is in a tight spot here, and Fraser, I think more than anything, is just trying to get through that opening up the inside. and there's the mistake. And the horse actually interferes with one that's going to be in this race, and that's She Reigns. So She Reigns had to take up, and this one eventually finished in second. Now She Reigns, give this one some credit, comes back on to finish in the third place position. It's amazing that Savatgy was able to stay on She Reigns in here, but certainly Dunmore Beach opened up a lot of people's eyes with that most recent race, and that's turned out to be a key race. The first place finisher was obviously one that came back to win the Glorious Songs, and the sixth place finisher came out of that race to win a main optional 40. I'm curious with this inside horse, Elisa. Beautiful things. This is, speaking of sires, this is a younger sire. He's not as good as the Yopons as of yet, but this one's from the same family as Rosa, who was a stakes winner down at Presque. So I'm going to keep a keen eye on this inside horse as well.
All right, I'm going to the 3. I just think, that Piper's Gift is a monster reference. The horse I used for 4th is one I've been kind of sticking with for a while, and that's Ava's Princess. And, she's just drawn it's just tough what she's in against here today, but she's been a really fun little filly to watch, primarily because of her owner.
Yes. Well, I wanted to interview her, but she was a little camera shy, that being Steve Turcoff's daughter. And then we have Superflight Chick, who you and I were all over in the Muskoka.
And we're off of.
Okay, I thought, but I think there's still more there.
Yeah, I agree. I just am interested in these firsters here in this race. The baby races on today's program are going to be fun ones to watch. Let's go to race number 8 on today's card, shall we? The 8th race on the program goes on the inner turf course at a distance of 7.5 furlongs. Turf is listed as good. As a reminder for you, we'll scratch the main track only. Horse number 9, Captivating Name, is out. I got to tell you, Jeff, I had a really hard time with this race. Something's up with Connor, right? I mean, he's been a scratch a couple of times, right? I think a vet scratch and steward scratch, and here he is today, offered up for the $40,000 tag. Then we have the 4, that being Stratus, who comes in off of a 3rd in behind Private Label, but he got bumped up to the 2nd place position. You got Mohamed Diamond, who gives, who ran actually pretty well when they took the blinkers off last start, but they're going to put the blinkers back on. But this is a great opportunity for a young rider like Cheyenne Kerr to race for big bucks.
And it comes out of a key race too. I mean, Private Label came back to win a non-2. Aristotle skipped a condition and came back to win a non-3. The 10th place finisher came back to win a non-2 at Fort Erie, that being It's Time to Breeze. But still, that's a lovely opportunity. And then you have Weller Green, who I think is a developing type. And this horse was totally minding his own business in this race and just gets totally fazooed. And we're going to take a look at this at a couple of different speeds. So let's watch the 3 in here. And I don't know how Austin stays on in here. He's right now, you're like, perfect. I got a ground-saving trip. But watch this coming up into the turn here. He gets bumped right there. And it gets worse coming up right here. He has to stand right up on the horse. He lost all chances, and you got to get the horse motivated again. We'll take a look at it one more time, just slower, just to show how aggressive this was. This poor horse. And you know what? You ride on a daily basis pretty much. You know how jarring this can be, for a horse. So
and then you got to start up again. I just hate getting shut off. It's one of the worst things.
No, it is. And you know what? Too obviously. There was nothing too traumatic to come back on just 15 days rest. So I think this is an improving type, and just hopefully we get a bit of a smoother trip here today.
You're reminding me of one of the things I hate the most. Like, just tell me where you are. That's what I always say. Tell me where you are. But, Weller Green, like you said, has an excuse there from that last race. Man, that first turn on that inner turf course, it's produced some interesting replays, hasn't it?
That was lane 4. It gets a little bit better today. We're in lane 2.
We're in lane 2.
That helps out the situation.
Yep. So that's some good news there in race number 8. All right, let's go to race 9. Oh yes, race 9. Of course, it is the on-track feature for the day today, the Grade 3 Ontario Derby, and of course we have probably some sovereign awards on the line here in this race, whether it goes to Mancetti or whether it goes maybe to Runaway Again. Now, Runaway Again, of course, is the hero of the Prince of Wales. Mancetti is the hero of the King's Plate. They are trained by family members. Of course, Kevin has Mancetti. His uncle Sid has the 4, Runaway Again. Moran has been a mainstay for Kevin, and Munger has been a mainstay for Sid. It feels like it's a battle between these two. Is there a possibility that somebody could sneak up on them?
Well, he's not joking, obviously, a good horse from last season. I think they got Derby aspirations with him, and things totally went off the rails. So now you kind of reboot back up in here. You've got Borealis Trail, who really surprised me with how well he ran last time out. He ran a terrific race. You've got Wagstaff, who was coming off a disappointing race in the Toronto Cup, and Special Session gets back onto the main. You know, I was looking back at the PPs, and even if Mancetti loses, he still might be the front runner for the Sovereign, because I forgot, you know, he won the Woodstock, he won the Marine, and if he won the Plate, for Sovereign Award voters, that's a massive thing to have.
Yeah, it is.
But we'll take a look back at the Prince of Wales Stakes, and this is Runaway Again. And Runaway Again got a perfect ride on this day from Ryan Munger, and for whatever reason, Ryan seems to get along beautifully with this guy. And you know what, Mancetti, he got a track that was to his liking. It was speed favoring. But I don't know so much that's Mancetti that lost this race as it was Runaway Again winning it. I just think the top two ran terrific. And you know what, maybe there was we thought there was maybe a bit of a regression off the plate. I don't know, like the speed figure came back massive for this race. And third back in this spot was Faber, and Faber does what he usually does with a rallying effort, but still Mancetti looks like he's home here. But Runaway Again gets up. I think the timing will help out Mancetti, but is Runaway Again going to improve and pass him at some point? That's the big question.
You know what the other thing too is that we should remind everybody that Ryan did work Runaway Again prior to the Plate as well, but he had the call on Sudbury's Ghost, who had won the Plate trial, and that's where he had to go, obviously. And then after the Plate, Prince of Wales, they interviewed Sid Attard. It kind of sounded like they were going to go to the breeders, but then they opted to leave the breeders on the table and come here instead, which I think in hindsight is a pretty good move.
I think at the time it had been a little bit better, they would have gone. But don't forget, they kind of rushed the horse into the Plate a little bit. Not the Plate so much. I mean,
well, maybe it wasn't ideal timing.
It's just for a young horse to go in the Plate in his second career start, I think was a lot to ask, right? So.
But I think, too, the other thing that we had heard from Sid going into the Plate was like it was a real mental game with this horse, too. And he handled everything. Obviously, the biggest thing he had to handle was the ship over to Fort Erie to compete on a completely different surface with all different sights and sounds in front of them. And don't forget, I've done enough days at Fort Erie to know, sometimes, you know, especially an out-of-town rider, they don't realize how long that stretch is.
Yeah, it's deceptive.
It is very, very long.
You've got a long way to go. I wonder what the plans are going to be with Runaway Again. Because obviously he likes dirt. Like, does he go maybe to a different trainer down to Gulfstream? Because, you know, it's not strong track.
Yeah, it's Stronach. I mean, he can go wherever he wants. Yeah.
I know Sid doesn't travel anymore, but, you know, over the winter time, just for pleasure, and deservedly so. But, yeah, I'm curious to see. And you know what, maybe we're not giving enough props to the Plate winner. We're all picking the horse second. You know?
He's had a good campaign, a great campaign, you know? And he has made famous the Mancetti hood now as well.
Do you think anybody goes with Mancetti? Like, do you think
Wagstaff?
Yeah, that would be the only one I would think.
Yeah, I mean, Nathan Squires actually came to us and said he wants to do an interview prior to this race, which, you know, we love that.
Yeah.
But that's going to be my first question to him is, are you, because I know what Nathan's going to say, well, I don't give instructions to my riders. But do you really want to go with Mancetti?
It's a chess match. It's a fun race.
Yep, so race number 9 on the program, the on-track feature race for the day today. Let's go to the, where are we going next? 10th. All right. 10th race kicks off the late double. Oh, this is a fun little race.
Holy smokes.
We got a couple of fun races today and tomorrow that aren't stakes races, but read-like stakes races. And this is one of them. It's an optional 80. Okay, here's the return of Reload's Rascal. Haven't seen this horse in a long time. Here's the return of Souped Up. Haven't seen this horse at all this season, and he put together such a good campaign last year. Twin City, I think, will like the cooler weather. We got the return of Lucky Score. You know, there's a lot of horses here coming back. And then we have a horse like Play Me a Tune, who I think has been really disappointing.
I would agree.
You know?
I would, especially considering the fact, you know, you start off the season so well in the Forego.
Yeah.
You
and he
win.
Looks so good.
He looked fantastic. The Highlander, he ran not bad, but it was the Bold Venture. That was the letdown race. That was plate day, and he didn't have anything on that day for whatever reason.
Didn't. And he'd worked so well coming into the race too. I think that's what we were most frustrated with because we were able to watch the work. But I thought, you know what, I'm going to be a little tricky and go with Souped Up. I know he hasn't been to the races in a long time. It's a lot to ask a horse to be sharp and ready to beat the likes of these at first asking. But last year they did exactly the same thing. They put him away in December of 2023. They didn't bring him back until June of 2024, and he won by 5.
Yeah, he's dangerous. Very, very dangerous in here for sure. I'm going to go towards Twin City. I thought the horse ran fine in the Vigil. Lost to Simcoe, lost to a Shipper and Horsepower, lost to Cruden Bay. Lucky Score was actually entered in the Artie Schiller the other day at Aqueduct and scratched, so this is probably an easier spot. Old Chestnut got in for 50 and was able to win. And then you got Victory Achieved, who I picked first time outs and I thought was a bit of a disappointment in that most recent race. But essentially what this race is, let's avoid the top sprinter in the country.
Yeah, exactly.
But I imagine we'll see some of these in the Kennedy Road later on this season.
Yeah, it's like back in the day when everybody wanted to avoid Patches. Now they're trying to avoid
Pink Lloyd.
Simcoe.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting in this race too, Jeff? Just watching the jockey juggling here, and the fact, again, we've talked about this, the Savachi leaving, that there's a big hole open over at the Cassie outfit. Look at that. Flores takes off Old Chestnut, who he won with last start out, and goes to Lucky Score. He has never ridden for Mark Cassie.
You're right. It's going to be somebody's taking advantage of the situations in here, and you need breaks in career. Like, listen, I got a university and I got a job here. That was a major break in my career, and there was an opening. You were able to come back. Like, you need breaks in life, and some of these riders are getting a break. And you got to take advantage of it.
And it's an opportunity. We've talked about this before too, with young riders getting into big outfits and saying, look, they got to win for these barns. If they can get in, there's going to be plenty more to get. And, right now we're watching certainly a lot of different jock changes and jockeys going all over the place to try and fill that void from Sahin Savachi. Because look, Fraser and Rafi can only do so much. Right? So there's some great opportunities for a lot of riders here to pick up some live horses. Okay, that is the program for the day today. We are going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll take a look at our plays of the day, our clocker horse, and we'll put together our pick four.
Love horse racing? HPIBet.com is Canada's leader in online horse betting. Access thousands of live races from hundreds of tracks worldwide instantly. Enjoy the most advanced betting tools like AI Smart Picks and exclusive cashback rewards you won't get anywhere else. Join today and get up to $100 in free bets. Get the ultimate horse betting experience with HPIBet.com.
Biggest race in the world. Pinch me, I think I'm dreaming.
They're off, Midland Dubai World Cup.
And they're into the Tbred. Two of the great racehorses in the world. Giant Killer, by name and by nature. A race for the ages.
Breeders' Crown Elims started last night, and there'll be more Elims on tonight's program at WOMO. But here's the picks of the day today from here at Woodbine.
So off the bench, I'm going to go towards Highland Blue. I'm going to try to beat Uncle Phil in that one. My debut threat's going to be Beautiful Things, coming up a little bit later on in the program in race number 6. Off that troubled trip, I'm going to go towards Weller Green, and my best bet of the day is Runaway. Again, I just think is getting better and better with each and every race.
All right, let's see what I sent in. Maiden score, well, let's see if we can get this Durham home. I suggest playing it in an exacta box, though, with the 1. I like this firster, likely story, and I'll back it up win place just in case, because it is a first-time starter. I think we'll get Stratus at a bit of a price, and I want to key that one in the late pick 4, and then my price play is souped up in race number 10, making the comeback to the races. So you haven't seen them since December. Tea and Honey with an E is our top selection from our Woodbine TD prod in the opener on the program. That horse is at 4-1 currently. Per Factor is a top selection for Doug McPherson, and Ron's got Runaway again. He's with you as the horse reunites with Ryan Munger, who's had a lot of success in the last couple of months for Sinatard.
Sure has.
Okay, we got clocker horses to pass along your way as well. 2 clocker horses today. First one comes up in race number 6. It's a Pat Dixon horse by the name of Lady on a Mission. Now, this is a first-time starter. Horrible draw, right? Outside draw, not the place you want to be. This is affiliated by Cairo Prince, a homebred for Colebrook Farms. And it's the work on September 21st that caught their eye. And that's a work from the gate in 48-4, outworking a stablemate there quite easily by 3 lengths. He likes the comeback works on this horse as well, so we'll be watching for that one. And then He's Not Joking makes the clocker report in race number 9. Now that's the feature. We didn't really talk about this horse, Jeff. You know, like you said, they had maybe some ambition of possibly being a Derby horse.
Yep.
But he's had some time, and he's come back with a bullet move in 59-3.
Yep, the old reboots. You know, things coming off the rails there a little bit. Now they're going to try to get back on track here today. And Josie off the layoff is dynamite. One thing about Josie, they are not short.
Oh, they're not
when
short.
They come off the
They
bench.
are ready to roll. All right, speaking of that, we're always 1 short in the pick
Yes,
4,
that's
or
true.
1 short in the pick 5. But we're going to give you another pick 4 today and see if we can get it. Starting off in the 4th race on the program with the optional 40. This is a tough one to get through. I like the Josie horse, More Money Honey, in this spot. Bren Gun Girl, I think, is a
That's
horse
my
to
pick.
consider too.
Yeah, and we'll toss in the horse's name that we can't say properly.
Yep,
so
that's
that'll be
right.
the number 2. And another horse's name we can't say properly, number 3. So 2, 3, 7, and 9 for us in the 4th.
And then we have baby races for the next 2 legs. So race number 5, the 5/8 baby race, the maiden special weight. I really am interested in watching this horse Likely Story, but it is babies. I think Twist of Sugar, because of the reference to Final Accord, is a major player as well.
Yep, and we'll toss some Party Central, who's been working up a storm down in Kentucky, getting ready for this engagement. Now, Liam's map off the bat.
6th race, the other maiden special, going 6.5 furlongs. This race, you know, we talked about Dunmore Beach. We showed you the replay from that horse last start out. Second in behind Piper's Gift, and Piper's Gift is a very serious racehorse now.
Yeah, and we're going to use She Reigns, who had that troubled trip when Dunmore Beach's race, and the first timer, that being Beautiful Things from the inside. And then we get to our key coming up in the 7th of the day. And you know what? I feel so bad for Savachi, because Shifty, every time out, would give this guy a handful. Remember last time, she just would not settle again. She was just tossing her head about, blah, blah, blah. Maybe this is just what she wants to do in that sprint. And if I'm Rafi, I'm like, okay, you want to go?
Go.
We'll go.
Yep.
That's 6.5 furlongs.
And really, a lot of her issues have been that she's hooked up with stablemates that are just a little bit better. No Time, Winterberry. You know, I like the cutback in distance with her here today, and Rafi's going to take over the riding duties on this one. So that's our key for race number 7, which gives us a nice cheap ticket, $7.20 if you want to play along. Alrighty. 22 races coming up this weekend. 11 races in store for you today on a sunny Saturday. Good weather for the rest of the day, right?
Yes, warm too.
Yeah, it's going to go like up to
southern breeze.
18, 20 degrees. So that's fabulous. Looking forward to the races in store on this afternoon's program, including race number 9 on today's card, which is the Grade 3 Ontario Derby.